you were talking to an average Joe on the street and you had, call it give or take 5 minutes to sort of sell them on maybe 4 or 5 of your favorite arguments for God, how might you go about it?
Well, that's about an argument per minute. And rather than giving them 4 or 5 arguments for God's existence, I'd be inclined to give them 1 or 2. The easiest contemporary argument for God's existence is what's known as, for an ordinary person to understand, is what's known as the Kalam cosmological argument. And it can be framed different ways, but a common way of framing it is everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause, and that cause would be God, something powerful enough to create the entire universe. And so the question then becomes, how do you defend those 2 premises? Well, most people would agree that if something has a beginning, then it needs a cause. We don't see things beginning that don't have causes of some kind. So the primary work needs to be done on the second premise, that the universe has a beginning. And there have been various attempts to defend that philosophically, to argue that for philosophical reasons, the universe needed a beginning, but I think all of those fail. I think none of them work. I'm not a fan of philosophical defenses of the second premise of the Kalam argument. What I do recognize, though, is that we have good scientific evidence that the universe had a beginning. Ever since we discovered the recession of the galaxies in the 1920s, that it appears that almost every galaxy is moving away from us. That's best explained in terms of the idea of the universe is expanding. And if it's expanding, then you can run its history backwards and you're going to hit an origin point, which we refer to as the Big Bang. And so based on modern Big Bang cosmology, it sure looks like the universe had a beginning. And now you could debate that. You could try to blunt it by saying, well, could there have been a previous universe and so forth? There's a lot more that could be said here, but at least on the face of things, it looks like the universe had a beginning. And even though the results of science are always provisional, so, they're not 100% certain, we still have a strong presumptive case for the beginning of the universe and thus for the existence of God. When it comes to a more airtight argument, I tend to prefer what's known as the contingency argument. Something in the contingency argument, everything is put into one of 2 classes: contingent things and necessary things. A contingent thing is something that could be different than it is. For example, if you're watching the video version of the podcast right now, Thomas is wearing a purple Hawaiian shirt. But he could be different. He always wears Hawaiian shirts, but it could be a red Hawaiian shirt or a blue Hawaiian shirt or something like that. And so Thomas's shirt color, or Thomas wearing his shirt, is a contingent reality. It could be different than it is. But the thing about contingent realities is they need if they could be different than they are, they need an explanation for why they are the way they are. Now, you could try to explain that in terms of history. Like this morning, Thomas decided to put on his purple Hawaiian shirt instead of his red Hawaiian shirt or his blue Hawaiian shirt. But for purposes of the contingency argument, we're not interested in history. We're interested in why is Thomas wearing a purple shirt right now? Why is it purple right now? And you could say, well, okay, it's made out of molecules that are configured in such a way that they reflect reflect purple light waves in the visible spectrum. And then you got to say, well, why do the molecules do that? And you could appeal to the laws of physics, but ultimately there's got to be a stop to this chain. And so there needs to be an ultimate necessary cause to explain all of the contingent things that we see.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this Catholic Answer, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out our live streams Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific. Or find the episode after on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, or our Catholic Answers app.